Sherman Firefly, the tank that changed the rules of the fight. Summer 1944, Normandy. The Allies have landed in France. The beachhead is secured. The advance into Europe begins. But very quickly, it becomes clear. This war will be different. Ahead are German tanks, Panther, Tiger, machines that outperform the standard Sherman, especially at range. And this is where a solution appears. A solution that was never meant to work, but did. The Sherman Firefly. The problem: the standard Sherman, with its 75mm gun, was a solid, reliable tank. It supported infantry, destroyed fortifications, kept moving. But against heavy German tanks, it had a problem. It could not reliably penetrate their armor at distance. The Tiger could fire first. The Panther could stay out of reach, which meant one thing: the Sherman often entered battle at a disadvantage. Something had to change. The idea: the British didn't wait for a new tank. They took what they already had, the Sherman, and gave it a new weapon. The QF 17-pounder, a 76.2mm gun. But the number is misleading. This was not just a gun, it was built to destroy armor. The gun numbers that matter. With standard armor-piercing rounds at 500 meters, about 130 to 140 millimeters of penetration at 1,000 meters, about 120 millimeters. For comparison, the T-34-85, about 100 millimeters at 500 meters, about 90 millimeters at 1,000 meters. The difference was clear, but the real advantage was the APDS round, a high-velocity, sub-caliber projectile. With it, the numbers changed dramatically. Over 200 millimeters at 500 meters, around 150 to 170 millimeters at a 1,000. This meant the Firefly could penetrate a Tiger I from the front, engage a Panther at range, destroy enemy tanks before they could respond effectively. For the first time, the Sherman could control the distance. The cost: but fitting this gun into a Sherman was not easy. The turret was not designed for it, so engineers had to adapt. They removed internal equipment, rearranged the crew space, moved the radio into a rear turret box, modified the recoil system. The result? A tighter interior, slower reload, more difficult crew operation. And one more issue: the long barrel. It made the Firefly easy to recognize. German crews learned quickly: if you see a Firefly, destroy it first. How it was used: the Firefly did not replace the Sherman. It worked alongside it. A typical unit: 3 or 4 standard Shermans, 1 Firefly. Each had a role. Standard Shermans: engage infantry, suppress positions, push forward. The Firefly: stays back, watches the field, engages enemy tanks. It was not a frontline brawler, it was a sniper. Normandy, the first test. In the bocage of Normandy, everything changed. Fields were divided by thick hedgerows. Visibility was limited. Ambushes were everywhere. Distances were short. Reactions had to be fast. When a Panther or Tiger appeared, standard Shermans struggled. But the Firefly did not. It waited, took position, fired. One shot could decide the fight. Villers-Bocage, one of the most famous encounters. German tank ace Michael Wittmann attacks a British column. Vehicles are destroyed one after another. The situation becomes critical. Then a Firefly enters the fight. Sergeant Joe Eakins takes aim. fires. The Tiger is destroyed. This moment became a symbol. Even the most feared tank is not invincible. Strengths. The Firefly gave the Allies something they lacked: range, penetration, confidence. The Sherman no longer had to close the distance at all costs. It could wait, choose its position, control the fight. Weaknesses, but it was not perfect. Weak, high explosive performance, less effective against infantry, cramped interior, visible profile, and most importantly, it was vulnerable. If spotted first, it was often destroyed first. Tactics and survival. Crews adapted. They camouflaged the barrel, stayed behind other tanks, used cover whenever possible. The Firefly rarely led the advance. It waited for its moment. And when that moment came, it struck. End of the war. By 1945, the Firefly became a standard part of British armored units. It moved through France, Belgium, and into Germany, not as the main tank, but as a key part of a larger system. It did not win battles alone, but it eliminated the most dangerous threats, supported advances, reduced losses. Conclusion. The Sherman Firefly is not a story about perfection. It is a story about adaptation, a compromise, a solution born from necessity. It was not the most armored tank, not the most numerous, but it did something critical. It gave the Allies the ability to fight back against the best tanks of their enemy, not through numbers, but through precision.